Guys, I'm going to have to make notes for tomorrow's show. Tanner, I think you're going to be there. Looking forward to that. We got 2 shows left. Joe, I'm sorry, you might have to fire me tomorrow morning because I have no game plan. I don't know what's about to come out of my mouth. I felt every possible emotion over the last. Keep everybody on the screen here. I want to be talking to people when I'm saying this. I have felt every possible emotion over the last however many hours it's been, 1 or 2 hours, hour and a half. I don't even. Time has stood still. Time has accelerated. We as NASCAR fans deserve better than this. I have felt embarrassed before as a NASCAR fan. I've felt jaded. I've felt disappointed. I've been mad. I have never in the 19 years that I've been watching this sport felt ashamed to be a NASCAR fan until tonight. You know, guys, we had 2 drivers in the series that I normally cover on my show. They won 10 races. They led every statistical category. They broke records. We were saying leading up to this weekend, man, imagine the meltdown on Twitter if either of these guys don't win the championship. Who had the biggest meltdown being after the Cup race on their bingo card? Because that's what's happened here. And they tried their damnedest to rip the trophy out of Corey Haim's hands on Friday night. I don't even remember who it was. It was one of Ankram's teammates, I think, had a tire go down. Probably should have come into the pits 3 laps before he did because he knew that there was a problem. Stayed on the track, brought out a yellow, completely reshuffled the race. And by the grace of God, I don't know how he managed to do it. Maybe he laid back a little bit too much on the restart. I don't know, Tanner. I know you were saying he's got plausible deniability because Lane Riggs was doing the same thing. And it did cost Lane Riggs an owner's championship, by the way. Don't forget about that. Lane Riggs was going to win that race. So the 34 team, I think, has every right to be mad about how that played out too. But by the grace of God, thank goodness Corey Haim won that title. And then last night, Connor Zilisch, man, got passed late by Jesse Love, loses the drivers, got passed late by Eric Almirola, loses the owners. I mean, imagine if he'd gotten passed by Carson Kvapil. I don't even think he would have gotten Rookie of the Year, right? That was the one thing. Oh, at least you got Rookie of the Year. At least you won that. At least you get some sort of accolade for your historic season, and we can vote you the people's champion, I guess. But, man, Jesse Love just shined the most when the lights were the brightest. When it mattered the most, Richard Childress Racing took the Drivers' Championship with Jesse Love. Junior Motorsports, 75% chance of a title. They broke records all season. Their organization doesn't even come away with the owner's title. And you thought the meltdown was bad last night. Denny Hamlin had this race won. He was 3+ seconds ahead. And because of issues that we had seen all day, tires going down, unpredictability, somebody at Goodyear needs to be fired or investigated or whatnot. I understand. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think this was a brand new tire compound that they were trying out for the first time. Why would we do that on a one-race winner-take-all championship finale? God only knows.
Thank you.
We did. And, man, the same exact thing that happened in the truck race happens tonight. We re-rack them. Drivers stay out. Drivers take 2 tires. Drivers take 4 tires. Your entire season comes down to this. And if I pull this stupid thing out of my hands and I see one more tweet about the 2007 Patriots, I am going to lose my ever-loving mind. Because show me the part of that Super Bowl where a Chargers defensive tackle ran out onto the field and sacked either Tom Brady or Eli Manning and completely changed the outcome of that championship. You cannot compare stick and ball sports to a sport where everybody is on the track at once. Everybody is running their own race. Everything under the sun is liable to happen, whether it's in your control or not. And you cannot tell me that it is an apples to apples comparison. You can't even make an apples to oranges comparison. It's apples and chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts. That's what you're doing when you try to compare NASCAR and auto racing to stick and ball sports. And I am so tired of the argument that to 18 wins and 1 giant loss, man, I'm sick of it. I've had it. It makes no sense. You cannot make the comparison and sound like you're making any sort of logical or sensible or rational argument. I don't even, like I said, I am sure I have missed things. I do not want to completely monopolize the night. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here on the wrap-up show. I'm going to let Matthew go here in just a moment. But between everything that we saw, the playoff format, overtime, goodness knows, I love overtime, right? One of my other favorite things about this sport, playoff format, overtime, the tire issues, 30 other cars out there on the track doing what they do, running their own races, trying to maximize their own efforts. Congratulations to Ryan Blaney on the win. Nobody seems to care about that. You might as well spin a roulette wheel and determine your champion that way. I mean, it really wouldn't be that different. It really wouldn't be that different. And people are going to say, well, if you tally up the full season points, Kyle Larson would have won the championship anyway, so the best driver won. You guys got what you wanted. Man, screw all of that right now. I don't even care. Denny, this you have said for months, this is the way it is. This is the format we have. And under the format we have, there is no conceivable reason for Denny Hamlin to not be the champion of 2025. And yet he is not.
I just hope that by the time we have another conversation about this, they completely change the format. Whether it's they keep the playoffs with the 3-3-4, whether they get rid of it, who cares? It's not player.
No.
It's just
I am done with playoffs. This needs to be the end of it. It's 10 race chase, full season or nothing.
Well, I guess I consider the chase as a playoff in that sense, right? The 10 race, but it's the principle of the idea that
I'm done compromising, and I said this at the end of Martinsville last, or I don't even remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. There's so much stupid stuff that happens. And thank you for the shirt, by the way. You can go to backstreetmerch.com. It's not a shameless plug because I'm plugging it on behalf of my co-host here. But, man, I've always said, you know what? At this point, if we can get a 10-race sample size, if we can get the 10-race chase, then so be it. It's anything but the one-race format. But I'm done. I'm done compromising. You once you start moving, and they're doing this with the rumors of the 3-3-4, you start moving from 1 race to 4 race, you are admitting that you need a larger sample size to crown a legitimate fair champion. And then if you move back to 4 and people don't like that, maybe you go back to the 10-race chase. But if you're already trending that direction anyway, why not just take the largest sample size possible, the sample size that virtually every other major form of motorsports around the world uses to crown their champions, the format that NASCAR used for its first 55 seasons, even longer than that in Xfinity and Trucks, still uses in ARCA, a series they own, by the way. Congratulations, Trevor Huddleston. Why not just take the full 36 races? It doesn't have to be Latford. It doesn't. One of the places where the Latford system erred was it did not give the winner enough of an advantage over second relative to the rest of the field. I understand that. It does not have to be Latford. It does have to be a 36 race championship. And that is something that I am no longer willing to compromise on, because every time up until this year, maybe this is the final straw that breaks the camel's back. I don't know. But up until this year, all I've heard from talking heads on Sirius XM NASCAR radio, from people who defend this system to the death until they're blue in the face, is, oh, well, you just want to go back to the old days and we can't take the sport backwards. We have to move the sport forwards, or, you know, this is just how it is in every other sport. And if the 2007 Patriots lose the Super Bowl, you're out of arguments. You're out of defenses for this system. It has to go. And the only answer, the only way that we get back to having champions that are undisputed, that everybody accepts with legitimacy, is a full 36. I'm sorry, but I'm done compromising. This, I think, is finally going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for anybody that was on the fence. Of course, you're always going to have the people that say this is just like stick and ball sports, say we need the championship to go down in the last race. I mean, I was arguing with some bot on Twitter today. I'm sorry to use that term, but that's what you guys call me, so I'm going to give it right back to you guys. I don't even care at this point. You're clearly not here for an actual conversation or actual debate. Telling me about how there's a boring championship battle going on in F1 right now, and it has a full season format. And I try to tell him that it's only 1 point right now between the two McLaren teammates, and Max Verstappen has the best betting odds for whatever the hell that means to still win the championship. And he's like, no, only one team is still involved. Like, these people clearly are not here to have an actual legitimate and honest and open conversation about this subject here. But this, to me, I think, because of the way that Denny lost him, and because of what's going on behind the scenes in the sport right now, and because of the way that tires were blowing out today, and I got to be honest with you guys, I've been so jaded with this format. I just don't care so much about what happens. I know it sounds weird probably to say I don't care after the rant that I went on to start this show, but I didn't care enough to tune in until the last 25 laps, because I was just like, something stupid's probably going to happen. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong again, please do. But from what I understand, there were tire blowouts going on all day, and we didn't know which of these caused a caution or warranted a caution or didn't warrant a caution. I'm not putting the tinfoil hat on here myself, but I think some people might be at this point. What if Byron was leading the race and Denny Hamlin was the one that lost the tire? Would they have still thrown the caution, given what's going on behind the scenes right now? Again, I'm not asking that question myself, but I think the door is left open for the possibility for somebody to look at what's going on in the sport right now and say, okay, that seems a little suspicious, right? There is so much wrong with what we saw tonight that I think anybody who was still on the fence or anybody who was still just even apathetic, that was just like, well, it is what it is, and I'm a race fan, and I'll ride or die with the sport no matter what. I struggle to understand how you're going to look at what happened the last two nights in particular and what very nearly happened on night one with Corey Heim. Could have happened easily all three nights. And look at this system and say, this is fine. This is great. Don't you just love one race winner take all formats here? I mean, man, if you're still feeling that way, I simply do not understand you. And to answer the question, Joe, yes, this is going to be the all-time example. It took 12 years, maybe only 9 years because it kind of happened in 16 again. I mean, that's the only thing that compares, by the way. And wouldn't it be something if Denny just pulls a Carl Edwards and says, screw it, I'm out of here? I mean, who knows what's going to happen again with the lawsuit in the background is presenting its own challenges as well. But I'm over it. I'm completely over it. I have, like I've said, I felt every possible emotion these last couple of hours here, including happiness, because the silver lining to this is the people that were on the fence have woken up. This is absolute insanity. And I hope that we look back decades down the road and think, how in the world did we let this happen for 12 years? 12 years of this format. May it never happen again.
Boo NASCAR. And in parentheses, this sucks.
Hello, Woody Page.
Exactly. That's exactly who I was trying to channel in this moment.
I want to bring up, Joe, if you can, this Facebook comment that just came in, because this is important. This is I don't know if this guy here is just trolling or what, but I mean, first of all, I don't think that's how you spell whining, so you got that going for you. But this is toxic positivity. Because I'm seeing on Twitter too, there are people saying, we just got a thrilling finish, sprint to the finish, green, white, checkered overtime. You saw it in a truck race Friday night. You got your rightful champion, right? You got your great finish, and just we all love this sport. Why can't we all just be happy? Why do we have to start whining? Loving a sport does not mean you turn a blind eye to its faults. And the faults of this system have been on full display in all three races this weekend. And if you don't call that out as a pundit, I hesitate to call myself a journalist because I'm only on the grounds once or twice a year. But as an analyst, if you do not call out the faults of the sport that you're covering, you're not being honest with your audience, and your integrity suffers for it. So with all due respect, Steve, we are not going to quit whining. We're going to continue to talk about this. I'm going to continue to talk about this on my show tomorrow. Tanner's coming on Encore. He's going to continue to talk about this tomorrow. Brandon Crossland's going to come on Encore and talk about this tomorrow. And we're going to continue the conversation well into the offseason and not stop fighting for what we believe will put this sport on a trajectory to success. And that is in no possible way, shape, or form this system that we have had for the last 12 years, despite what our now Commissioner Steve Phelps said 2 years ago. I want to play you this clip from the State of the Sport in 2023. Listen to what Steve Phelps tried to say before the Phoenix race 2 years ago in light of everything that's happened this weekend. Take a listen to this.
And I've heard some things that were people was like, hey, listen, this is gimmicky, and when it's not. It's an incredible, incredible playoff system that rewards the best drivers in our sport.
I think the best driver in the sport today was pretty obvious. I don't think he got rewarded for it. I'll just leave it at that. I see the follow-up comment here. Why does leading laps all of a sudden mean you should win a championship? You just have to finish in front of the other three. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously that's what we got today. But the point is to, I think, bring up how absurd the system is that it let a driver who didn't lead a lap all day still come out on top because things were just shuffled at the end to the point where the guy that led over 200 laps went on a different strategy and only had 2 laps to make up for that because cars that were not even in the championship. I see you say you wish Brad won as well. I think that would have been a cool story. It's been a while since Brad's only won 1 race as an owner driver at RFK, but
he completely choked it in the last corner.
Yeah, who cares, right? I mean, literally, who cares? I don't know how much time it took NBC to get to Ryan Blaney, but they were 20 minutes into the Peacock portion of the post-race show. That has to be a record for the time between the checkered flag and when the race winner was actually interviewed. So, again, I don't have anything against Brad Keselowski as a driver, but as right here, right now, today, he had absolutely nothing to do with the championship fight, and the decision that he and his team and his teammate Ryan Preece made to stay out at the end had a direct impact on the championship, and that is why you cannot compare what NASCAR does to the 2007 Patriots, period. Forgive me, I forget who the first person was to say it, but I've seen multiple people tweet this over the last, and you saw it again with Zilich last night. People talk about Game 7 moments, how this format guarantees every year we get a Game 7 moment. Today was not a Game 7 moment. Matthew, bro, what your Dodgers did last night, that was a Game 7 moment. What we saw today was a next score wins moment. This system here, again, you can go into today, liking what you like, or wanting a full season format, I understand the people are going to say, well, this is what we have now. The way this system should work, Denny Hamlin should have been the champion today. That should have been your walk-off Game 7 moment. He put in the drive of his life on that final restart, had a multiple second lead, was running away with it. And yet, in a system designed to reward winning, a guy that hasn't won in months, who didn't even lead a lap today, who didn't even win the race today, is the champion instead because of something that happened completely out of the leader, Denny Hamlin's control. That is not a Game 7 moment. That is a re-rack them and the next score wins moment. Forget the first 35 races. Forget the first 310 laps of this race. We're going to neutralize the field with a caution because of something that happens completely irrelevant to the guy that was leading the race, and the next score wins. And that's your season-long champion. That's what this system gave us today. May it never happen again.